Hey Willowbrook, our reading today finds us in Acts chapter 18. Paul has been in his missionary journeys and now he is in Corinth. And as I was reading the other day, this chapter, what stuck out to me was all the things Paul was doing and all the things he was doing it in spite of. Let me explain. In Acts chapter 18 verse 1 it says, Paul left Athens and went to Corinth. In chapter 18, verse 4, it says, every Sabbath he reasoned with them in the synagogue. And then in verse 7, it says, Paul left the synagogue and went to the house of Titius Justus. And then in verse 18, it says, Paul stayed in Corinth. Paul is doing so much ministry. And the thing that sticks out to me is that he's doing this after a whole lot of opposition and things that had come against him. At this point in the scripture, you just read that Paul had a major disagreement with his partner Barnabas, so much so they had to part ways with each other. And then Paul and Silas were thrown in prison. And then Paul went to Thessalonica, and what happened? A mob came after him. And then he left and went to Berea, and what happened there? Well, the mob from Thessalonica followed him to Berea. And then there's his beatings and his shipwrecks, and maybe that's why in Acts chapter 18, verse 9, the scripture says that Paul gets a vision from God. And God says in this vision, do not be afraid, keep on speaking. In other words, you just keep on doing what you're doing. Don't quit. Everything in our lives is not always easy. Sometimes we need to be reminded, don't quit. So many times the greatest things in life happen when we push through adversity and don't give up. I'm going to give you a little quiz now, okay? I'm going to tell you some people who didn't give up. Let's see if you can guess who they were. He was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination and having no original ideas. You know who that was? Walt Disney. As a 30-year-old, this guy was devastated and depressed after being removed from a company he started. Well, that company was Apple, and that was Steve Jobs. How about this? He failed 6th grade and was defeated in every single public election for office until he became England's Prime Minister. Who was that? That was Winston Churchill. There's a lot of great leaders who have failed and had to keep on pressing on, even in the midst of adversity. They didn't quit, and then big things happened. Well, the same thing happens to us spiritually so often. If we will just be faithful and continue, even when it's hard, even when we have setbacks, just like Paul. It's no wonder that Paul is the one that said in Galatians 6:9, let us not grow tired of doing good, for we know at the proper time we will reap a harvest if what? If we do not give up. Maybe today it's parenting that's wearing you out and you need to hear don't give up. Maybe today it's your finances and you need to hear don't give up. Maybe today it's your marriage that's tough. You got all of these opposing forces, it feels like, and you need to hear don't give up. Hey, let's be like Paul. Let's hear this message from God. Keep on doing what you're doing if you're being faithful to God. And trust that God's going to allow you to reap a harvest someday when we don't give up. Have a great day.